Hello and welcome back to another episode of Inside the Asperger Studios. Are you somebody who's going for a lot and can't figure out what your creative outlet is? Well, my next guest has created mindful art therapy, a way to help you use your creative arts and your creative outlet to just do what you want to do and create what you want to create. So sit back, relax, and grab your favorite beverage, and I'll see you on the other side and let's learn more about her.
I wanna believe in the truth, but only see what I'm shown. Got the freedom to choose, but can't decide on my own. Follow what the group is thinking, bottle up my intuition till it's popping.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Inside the Asperger Studios. Today I'm joined with Susan Day. Welcome to the show, Susan.
Thank you for having me. It's lovely to be here.
Not a problem. So why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a mindful arts coach, so an art therapist, and I work with all sorts of people, the old, the young, all the people on the spectrum, and we use art to not to create masterpieces, but art therapy is really about It's just, it's about sort of delving into your emotions, exploring how you're feeling, perhaps using it in certain situations. Yeah, so it's very flexible. Anyone can do it, and it's a lot of fun too. You can have some wonderful, joyful moments with it.
No, I mean, that's the really good thing to do because when you are neurodivergent, you are very creative and you, I love what you're doing because you're letting them tap into their creative side. And a lot of times we can't because we're tied into what society restricts us to, what our work restricts us to. You're giving people an outlet.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and you're right. It's like giving somebody permission to go back when they were little at school.
Hmm.
And I was working with a gentleman. He had an acquired brain injury,
Oh,
and he just started. It was actually a jockey, fell off a horse, which is awful. As a very young man, and he was in his 50s. And we just had a chat, and I just laid down some markers and a pen, and some pencils, and I said to him, "You just go and do whatever you feel like doing." And he really relished in that opportunity. He said, "I haven't done this since I was at school." Which is a shame because,
mhm.
being creative is essential I think, for getting through life. If you've got a problem in life, you need to find some creative solutions. And, neurodivergent people are, really, I find them really amazing to work with. I just find them so inspiring.
Now, what inspired you to do this? I mean, a lot of people go out and do amazing things, but this is truly amazing because, like I said, you are giving us a creative outlet.
I've always been an artist. I've always been a drawer, a writer, love music. And for me, I've always used it as therapy. I didn't realize there was anything like art therapy until I think it was about 7 or 8 years ago, when a lady asked me to edit her thesis on
Hmm.
art therapy. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is just amazing. And suddenly, for me, everything fell into place. Um, I just went off and did some study and, really interested in meditation and mindfulness. And so I don't think you can do the two, one without the other. Well, certainly can't. The more mindful you are when you're creating, the better it works, the more sort of in tune you become, the better response you get. And I think I'm on the spectrum somewhere. I've never been diagnosed, but then I'm old, so it's not a thing. People I was just a nuisance that's when I was growing up. Um, and even as an adult, I find it difficult to focus on one thing. And when I do focus, it's like a laser focus that I find, so I'm not sort of difficult or, it doesn't really interfere with my life, but I've noticed that I've really tapped into this extraordinary creativity. So when I work with people with autism, neurodivergent, I just find that we kind of get each other. So, we understand. Yeah, we kind of understand each other to that point where we really feed off each other and thrive. It's really exciting.
Now, how important would you say that mindfulness is? I mean, people always talk about it and they say, oh, you need to be mindful of your own situation, but how important do you think it is when you are doing something like art or art therapy for that matter?
It's essential because part of the therapy is enjoying the materials you're using. So rather than just getting the paints, whipping them out, you explore the textures, the smells, how it feels to, say, move the brush along the canvas. Or if you're using watercolor, what, just that sort of lovely fluid sense of things moving. And also, when you're trying to de-stress and you're upset, it's really being mindful, being able to do like a little body scan where you go, oh, hang on, I'm doing it now, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm already stressed. It's you kind of go, oh, hang on, I'm all tensed up. So you go, oh, just going to double check. I'm going to release a little bit of tension, and when you start doing that, it becomes second nature. You
Mhm.
begin to sort of go, oh, hang on. I'm feeling this tension in my back or something. I'm just going to take a few nice long deep breaths and release it. And I think what that does, it improves your mental health. It obviously improves your physical health, which is so important. But mentally, we can de-stress, we can release something like 70% of toxins just by taking some long deep breaths. It you change you can change the chemical pattern in your brain. It just like the research just blows my mind. Um, so yeah, it is, I think it's essential. I think it's one of those really important things that we all need to do.
Now, what is mindful art?
Pardon, sorry, what's mindful art?
Yes, what is mindful art?
It's about so say that's what we're going to do a drawing and you want to draw your inner and outer self. And so you you just use your intuition. You don't overthink anything. Choose any color that comes to mind. Start anywhere on the paper, but being mindful about how you're feeling as you're doing it. Are you a bit stressed? Are you a bit worried? Are you like incredibly joyful about the process? And acknowledging that and saying, oh, I'm a bit anxious, I'm a bit worried, but that's okay.
Hmm.
It's okay to feel those things. And it's important to feel those things, recognize them, but don't judge them either. And that's with art therapy. We don't judge or criticize what we're creating. Instead, we we just do it and accept it and enjoy it for what it is. And that's all a part of that mindful process.
Now, when you work with those who are neurodivergent, have you kind of like tapped into areas that they never knew existed before?
Yeah, and I think that comes down to their creativity. Excuse me. And so, and it's about like we're all so incredibly creative, and most importantly is being able to trust that process. And that's what I see when I work with people, particularly neurodivergent people, and they might have a particular medium they want to work in, and it might be crochet. It might be something I'm not very good at myself. And so again, we sort of work on it. It's like a learning process for me as well. And yeah, it's just amazing to see people. I love the word glow, because it's not, they don't jump around the room screaming with excitement, but they get this sense of joy that rises up and it just whoosh, out of, it's just really beautiful to see.
Now, what role does mindful art play with the neurodivergent community?
Oh, I think that's really important for to realize and to be able to acknowledge what they're feeling and accept it and again not sort of pushing back what society tells us is right and wrong or how we should feel about something. Like, not everyone loves to go. I hate going to the supermarket, you know, and people say, well, what's wrong with you? And I'm, well, I just don't like it. It's just too busy. You know, there's too many colors. There's too much stuff happening. and that's okay. And just getting to that point too with people and perhaps exploring that. So if I was to do that with a client, I would explore, we would use art to explore. And of course, the best thing about using art is that you don't need to talk. So art therapy bypasses the normal counseling and talk therapy because your subconscious will do all the work. It'll pour onto the page and you'll work through something. And sometimes that
Hmm.
might just be accepting who you are and what you like to do and what you don't like to do.
And it's interesting that you had mentioned that you don't like going to a supermarket. I had no, I mean, it's not unusual. I had a guest just yesterday I talked to, and she's autistic, and she's like, she hates going to the shopping because you get overwhelmed with all the choices on the shelf, and it just becomes too much to bear.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. When I discovered, I assume you have in the States what we call click and collect. So I order my groceries online, I book a time, and I drive down and
Mhm.
pick them up. And it's lovely. It's just wonderful.
We have something kind of like that. We have something called Instacart where bunches of grocery stores are connected to it, and you can choose what you want, and they'll get delivered to you. The only things we won't do, or I won't do from a app, is I won't order like deli
Oh yeah, yeah.
because the person purchasing it sometimes doesn't know to ask or tell the deli person, hey, I need this thin. And they'll just get thick cut.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely. If you got to get your specialty stuff, you have to go in. Um, but yeah, it's really a mind-blowing thing. And I was using it pre-lockdown. And then of course it became very popular. But yeah, I get it. I can go in and know exactly what I want and be in there less than 30 seconds and have forgotten. I just find it, yeah, I find it just really distracting. I've got the sun in my eyes at the moment. Okay.
Now, would you say that the majority of the people that come to see you are neurodivergent?
I would say probably about 50%, but to be honest, again, I think there's a whole wave of my generation that have never been diagnosed
Hmm.
and that have mental health issues because of it. Not because they're neurodivergent, but because of that lack of diagnosis and understanding. And so I suppose the real answer is I don't really know. But I roughly I would say about half that acknowledge and have been diagnosed in some way.
I mean, that's interesting you say that because a lot of people who aren't diagnosed don't realize the importance it puts on their life and how it
Mm.
affects their mental health. Because
Mm.
you can go through life not being diagnosed and wondering why the world is seeing you so differently, and then you start talking to people and then you realize you got the same traits as them and that person's autistic and you're like, wait a minute, does that mean I have this? And I've talked with parents who, when taking their kid to get diagnosed, and they're sitting there with the doctors and they're going over all these traits, they're like, wait a minute, check, I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this. Oh my God, does that mean I need to get tested now?
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think it's really interesting that a lot of people live with that lack of diagnosis, which it's and then again, it's not a label, but it's an opportunity to understand why don't you fit in?
Hmm.
You know, I've never fitted in. You know, and I've always lived on the edges, if you like, and done. I do what I like when I like, which is great, just about. Unless the dogs and the cats have something to say about it. But yeah, it's really interesting to be able to sit back and look at your life and then form a greater understanding of who you are and how you fit in and you know that maybe that's not a bad thing too.
Now, when you have people come to you, do they all of a sudden realize, like, that, oh my God, this is such a release of tension, of stress, because they're able to like let all this emotion go.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And again, that sort of sense of joy. Yeah. Not many people become sad when they're doing art,
Hmm.
well, painting and drawing. Often music and writing can evoke
Hmm.
those sorts of feelings. But the art itself, that sort of the sense of just that sense of creation and just giving permission and having that opportunity, it's a real revelation for people. And yeah, they just shine, glow.
Now, what kind of art have you seen the neurodivergence use as opposed to those who aren't?
Oh, I think it's a real mix. I find what I really love about neurodivergent people is the way they embrace, whether it's using every color that's there, just and filling up the paper. Whereas I find people who aren't on the spectrum tend to, they're quite careful, or they might just use this, the bottom half of the paper, or, something like that. Whereas what I really love is this joyful embracing of everything that's there, and almost it's like I've got all this equipment, I've got all these materials, and I'm going to put them to use, and I'm going to make them work. And it's really just the examples are just amazing.
Now, I understand you got to travel.
I did, yes, yeah,
What
yeah.
did you learn from your travels?
I learned that one thing I never understood while I was growing up was racism because I traveled the world twice before I was 7.
Wow.
And I started my education in England, and my best friends at school was a little Indian girl and a little African girl, and they were new immigrants to the country. So I was born in the UK. My father is South African. My mother is Irish. So I already had a little bit of mixed heritage, and I knew about other places in the world. And when I came to Australia, it was much more narrow focused. Most of the kids were blonde. I always had dark hair. And we were just getting a new wave of immigrants coming from Mediterranean Europe. So I just, traveling the world as a child, I never, we mixed, I saw all sorts of things and all sorts of cultures and, we went to Africa and South America and I just reveled in this beauty of humanity. And so I think growing up, that's what I really enjoyed. Yeah.
Now, what made you want to start doing mindful art and opening it up to everybody?
I think, excuse me, my voice is gone. I think it's just something that resonated really deeply with me. Um, it's not about power. It's not about knowledge. Well, it's about knowledge, but it's not about becoming the best of the best or making loads of money. It's for me, it just sat right. And until I don't think unless you've had that experience, I don't think maybe somebody might not understand it. But when you do find that thing that resonates with you, and it's ongoing. Like I said, I have a problem with attention but I've been
Mhm.
doing this for so long because it just resonates with me and it sits with me properly and it just feels right.
So you do have ADHD.
I think so. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Now, how do you handle it being undiagnosed? I mean, I know there are people that handle it differently. How do you go about dealing with it?
I've just accepted it. I can look back now and realize that, that my life was, I suppose, less than perfect, and there were all these issues. But I'm still here, and I'm resilient, and I've become so resilient, and I still, I'm not bitter. I'm not upset about it. It's just the way things were, and I think for me and my generation, I know that the people I've spoken to is that we're incredibly passionate to make sure it doesn't happen again. And this goes and that cuts across the board with all the stuff that had to grow up with,
Mhm.
whether it was, abuse against women and children and all that sort of stuff, is that, yeah, we know that we have to stop it. Yeah.
Now, I've noticed you've written several books. One of them I actually am glad you wrote. That was 60 Ways How to Deal with Loss of a Pet. And the reason I'm saying that is because people don't realize, even those of us who are neurodivergent, when you have a pet in your life, you get close to it and it becomes a family member. And that people don't realize the loss of a pet, how hard it hits you after it's gone.
Oh, absolutely. I actually have a background in canine behavior, and I ran a big dog training school for many years. And I have written a long time ago, I started writing a series of books, sorry, for children about dogs. And it's a dog rescue, which I'm still involved with at the moment in a small way.
Mhm.
And also growing up, having traveled the world and not having any siblings, and both my parents worked, had full-time jobs in the 70s, which was a big thing. And so my pets became my brothers and sisters. They became my best friends. And when they leave us, whether it's from old age or from an accident or an illness of some kind, it's really, really devastating. It's like we've all seen the memes, we all understand the sort of concepts, but yeah, and I just wanted to use my knowledge and skills with art therapy to develop something people could work with, and they could
Mhm.
yeah, they could sort of celebrate their pet's life and honor their life and also deal with this grief. Like you say, it's just impacts your life so much.
I mean, people don't realize that the grief is one of the hardest things to deal with. I mean, and you really handled it well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I hope that it really does, that book really serves people.
I really do too, because like I said, no matter if you're neurodivergent or not, grief and loss of a pet hit your heart. And just because you don't cry now, you're gonna cry later because shock will set in and then your body just goes, oh God, he or she's no longer with me anymore.
Oh, absolutely. And it comes back in all sorts of ways, doesn't it? When, you think you're doing okay, and all of a sudden you see something or you smell something. And yeah, it's just, I have my border collie, he's lying at my feet now. And I took him
Oh,
for a walk last week, and this woman come up and she said, "Can I pat him?" I said, "Yeah, of course." And they had just had to put a 15-month-old puppy to sleep.
oh
And
God.
yeah, it was just, she just told me the story, and you could see this extraordinary pain. And she said, "It's just nice to be able to touch something fluffy again." So
Mhm.
it's real. The pain is absolutely visceral sometimes. Yeah.
I mean, what people don't realize is about pets is the bond they bring to people. I mean, I remember we used to bring our dog to we had a pug and she couldn't walk anymore, but we'd put her in a buggy and we'd push her around everywhere and we'd take her to the farmer's market. And the amount of people that would come up to you and share their life and talk about their past and their dog, and the people that want to just come up and take pictures of them and everything else. It's dogs are one of the most loved animals there are. Even but cats alone, but dogs, people kind of just bond with you right away.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? And I've worked and I've seen well, I've seen it work when I was running dog training, and there were elderly people who there was a gentleman who had a little Shih Tzu on his scooter. It used to sit between his feet.
Hmm.
And it was his access to the world because it needed to go to the vet, it needed
Hmm.
grooming. He used to come to training, and one of my younger staff was in charge of that dog, and because the gentleman couldn't walk properly, so she used to take the dog out for him, and he sadly passed away, and the dog was rehomed. But it was just amazing to see just in that one person's life at the end of his life. He must have been 70 or 80 at this time, this one little scruffy dog that that was full of personality, and how that enriched his life in an extraordinary way that I don't think anything else can. I don't think, like you say, that a dog is you've got to walk your dog, you've got to take it out. And that gives you so much opportunity to connect with people and build a community around around your own self and yeah, develop there's really important contacts.
And what people don't realize about pets, a lot, just pets in general, especially for those of us who are autistic, they teach us a lesson. They teach us about companionship. They teach us about love. But one of the most important things is they give us something that we can't get from our own parents, and that's that unconditional love. The
Yeah,
feeling,
absolutely.
the
Mm.
feeling when your dog puts his, when you're sitting there petting your dog and they put their head on your lap or they give you their paw. It's that feeling of right there of I'm happy. I'm glad I'm with you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they don't care if you're rich or you're poor or you're thin or you're fat or you're pretty or you're ugly. Your dog is going to love you regardless of because they know what's inside. And it's a lesson
Mhm.
I think we all really need to learn.
But one of the most important things is because you're caring for that dog, he's getting you out, is helping you socialize. You're gonna come across other dog people in the park or on your walks, and you're gonna be forced to talk, and it's helping you, especially if you're neurodivergent, break that barrier of shyness. Because other people who have dogs are gonna want to talk to you and pet your dog.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And the dog community is wonderful. You know, I've lived in areas where there's a really strong dog community and everybody's welcome. Neurodivergent, normal, blah, 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 everybody. Doesn't matter where you are, because you've got a dog. It's like a key, isn't it? A key to a much wider community and a key to so many different and wonderful things.
Now, you said you lived in England, now you're in Australia. What brought you from one continent to the other?
Oh, my parents. They, you know, England at the time was very drab. It was the economy was poor. My father never liked the cold weather, so we come to sunny Australia, and he loved it. He never went back. My mother did. She went back to see family a few times, and you know, my father's still alive. He'll be 97 next month.
Not,
Um, well, yeah,
wow.
in June. Is it? Yeah, yeah. And he just embraced this country for its, I guess, just not just so much for the warm weather, but also for the economic opportunities that come without a class system, which was very prevalent in the UK at the time. I don't know if it's still like that now. Um, so yeah, you know, and I don't know if I had much choice in it, but yeah, I really like it here. It's lovely.
Now, when you opened up your mindful art therapy, were you noticing that a lot of your people were more neurodivergent? Were you noticing that they were showing their traits and everything else, and in that way you were able to help them differently?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's one of the when you're working with people and you learn to notice or
Mm.
take note of certain little tiny traits, for sure. Yeah, it became quite apparent. And for me, that I thought, well, this is something that's, you know, that's attracting neurodivergent people. So I need to make sure that I'm on board. So I did further studies and research myself. Yeah.
I mean, one of the things you probably noticed is because you feel that you are autistic as well, I'm pretty sure you're able to relate to them better than someone who isn't. You're able to see their traits and work with them.
I guess so, yeah. And you know, it's something I didn't realize at first, but as the years go on and as I sort of reflect more, absolutely, yeah. I think I'm able to make that connection.
Now, have you noticed that the neurodivergents are like kind of choose one form of arts towards another? Like, do they like drawing more with markers, or do they like painting more? Do they like modeling more? What do you see them toward like geared towards more?
I don't know. I think it's to be honest, I think it's got a lot to do with this. the sort of education and society and also age. Whereas the older women tend to go for craft. Let's say younger men tend to go for markers where they might be drawing cartoons, anime stuff. So I think it's also about that culture that they have. Yeah.
Mhm. I mean, one of the great things about being autistic is the fact that we are so creative. And what people don't realize is that our creativeness is what makes us unusual. It makes us different. It makes us more outgoing because we have this creative side that I'm pretty sure a lot of times society is trying to keep it down. And when what you're doing is great because like I said, you're giving them this outlet of saying, hey, you can do what you want without any fear of judgment. And that's the bottom line is do what you want to do. Draw what you want to
Yep.
draw. I don't care. I'm not going to judge you. This is your therapy.
Absolutely, yeah. And I must tell you, I'm very excited. In a couple of weeks, we're having in a town, it's a few towns away, but it's a neurodivergent market. So
Wow.
all these people are coming with their artwork and their crafts, and it's fabulous. I'm so excited, all sorts of age groups, all sorts of backgrounds, and I can't wait to see what people come up with. And that exactly speaks to what you're saying, that it doesn't matter what they come up with, as long as they're creating and as long as they're enjoying it and they're adding something value to their own lives, but also to the other people's lives and the wider community.
And I'm pretty sure when you're watching these people, you're seeing the stress melt away from them as they're putting their art on the paper because when you're doing something you enjoy, your mind like fades away from all that stress of the world and you're focusing more on your art.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. And it's that, like and what I try to teach people is art is your go-to to
Hmm.
de-stress. Art is your go-to when you're upset and troubled, and also your go-to when you've got a problem that needs fixing. Even though you go, "Oh, I can't make somebody do this and I can't stop the government doing that, but we can control our response to it." And that's where the art is really important.
I mean, the thing is, when people look at what they draw and then no one judges it, I think it's a sense of accomplishment for them because they drew this, they're proud of it. It's like when you write a book or when you write a poem or you do something and then you see it out in the world, you get the sense of accomplishment of this is mine. I did this. I put my life into it.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just amazing that one tiny idea, one tiny thought can create a poem or an image or a crochet blanket or something. Yeah. It's just, it's very exciting. It's a very exciting field to work in.
Now, do you have any of your favorite things that your clients have created that like made you just go, wow?
Um, it just everything. It's just, yeah, it's just that those sort of moments that I value. I'm I'm very open to whatever people want to do. And so whatever they come up with, whatever their response is, I love to share. I love to share in those wow moments too. Yeah, that's my thing.
Now, what advice do you have for those who want to get into mindful art therapy?
Just do it. Yeah, do your research. I created 9 books. The reason I did it was because I wanted people to have access. Sometimes, it's very expensive to see a psychologist, or the wait time is very long, or both. So you can do art therapy in your home. And I try to keep the price of the books reasonable, that they're about 20 odd dollars. I think it's a bit less in the States. Or do your research online as well. I have an art therapy app, which you can download for free. It doesn't have any ads in it. And you can, play around with your art therapy like that and find out what really speaks to you, how it speaks to you, and then use it to your advantage.
And finally, where can people find out more about you online?
Oh, well, that's even easier again. It's just mindfulartstherapy.com. Arts with an S, because we include all the magic, all the magical things that we use. And yeah, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and I love to have a chat. So if people like to reach out, I'll be happy to chat to them.
And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Reed Miles and Susan Day, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you. Bye.